That little camera by your front door is meant to keep you safe, a digital peephole into the world outside. But what if it captures something you can't explain? Something that chills you to the bone? Tonight, we're counting down 12 of the most unsettling moments ever caught on doorbell cameras, real footage from real people who thought they were safe. These are the clips that turn comfort into vulnerability and prove the line between normal and terrifying is razor thin. So, turn down the lights, lock your doors, and get ready. What you're about to see might make you think twice the next time your phone chimes with a motion alert. Let's begin. David lived in a quiet, unassuming neighborhood, a place where the loudest sound was usually the chirping of crickets or the distant bark of a dog. But the tranquility was shattered one night. It was 2 a.m., the witching hour, when most of the world was deep in slumber. His phone buzzed, jolting him awake. A notification from his doorbell camera app lit up the screen. Expecting perhaps a stray animal, a raccoon rummaging through the trash, he groggily checked the live feed. Instead of an animal, a tall, unnervingly thin figure stood in his driveway. It stood motionless, an unsettling sentinel in his driveway, as if it were waiting for something, or someone. The figure was shrouded in darkness, its features obscured, making it impossible to discern any details. It didn't move, didn't look around. It was eerily still, like a statue carved from the night itself. It just stood there, an ominous presence, as if waiting patiently for an unknown signal. Minutes stretched into an eternity. The silence was suffocating, broken only by the faint hum of the camera itself. Suddenly, the figure snapped its head toward the camera, the movement sharp and unnatural. The speed of the turn was almost inhumanly fast, sending a chill down David's spine. David felt a disturbing sense of connection, as if it could see him, truly see him, through the cold glass of the screen. Then, as quickly as it appeared, it turned and vanished into the shadows, swallowed by the darkness. It was leaving only a haunting recording, a digital ghost in the machine, and a fear that lingered for weeks, a constant reminder of the uninvited guest. Sometimes the scariest thing isn't a monster or a threat, but a presence that simply shouldn't be there at all, violating the sanctity of your space. And sometimes, the most terrifying realization is that it knows you're watching too. Chloe was home alone. The wind howled outside, rattling the windows in their frames. It was a dark and stormy night, the kind where shadows danced in every corner, playing tricks on the eyes. A sudden sharp sound pierced the silence. The doorbell rang. An unexpected visitor on such a night. On her porch, illuminated by the dim porch light, stood a figure. Tall and still, it wore a blank white mask, devoid of any features. The mask was expressionless, offering no clue to the person beneath. The figure itself was unmoving, a statue in the downpour. The rain poured down relentlessly, plastering the figure's clothes to its body, yet it remained steadfast. Hesitantly, she reached for her phone, activating the doorbell's two-way talk feature. "Hello? Can I help you?" Her voice trembled slightly, betraying her unease. Only silence answered her. An unnerving, heavy silence that seemed to amplify the sound of the rain. The masked stranger didn't flinch, didn't respond to her voice or the pouring rain. It was as if it were a part of the storm itself. It just stared, its blank mask fixed on the door, an unsettling sentinel. Minutes dragged by, each one feeling like an eternity. The seconds ticked away on the phone screen. The figure remained, soaked to the bone, but still unmoving, an unsettling statue in the storm. Finally, after what felt like an age, it raised a hand, the movement slow and deliberate. It waved, slowly, deliberately, a gesture that was more unsettling than welcoming. The wave was directed right at the camera, a silent acknowledgement, a chilling connection. Then, as suddenly as it had appeared, it turned and disappeared into the darkness, swallowed by the night. The police arrived, searched the area, but found nothing, no trace of the masked figure. Chloe was left with a chilling video, a digital ghost of a terrifying encounter. She was left with the unsettling knowledge that someone had watched her, invaded her privacy, for reasons she'd never know, a violation that lingered long after the figure vanished. Sometimes the mask is scarier than the face behind it, the unknown more terrifying than any reality. And sometimes the silence is the loudest threat, the unanswered questions the most haunting. Would you have opened the door, inviting the unknown into your home? Or would you have just watched, heart pounding in your chest, paralyzed by fear? As the rain fell, blurring the image, Would you have been able to shake the feeling of the mask staring back, judging, waiting? Some visitors are never meant to be welcomed, some doors are better left unopened, and some mysteries are best left unsolved. A family in rural Pennsylvania installed a doorbell camera for peace of mind. On a sunny afternoon, the camera caught a tall, human-shaped shadow gliding across their walkway. But there was nothing there. No person, no object, just sunlight and an impossible shadow. They replayed the footage, tested for reflections, but nothing explained it. Sometimes the things we can't see are the most terrifying, and sometimes only the camera catches what shouldn't exist. Maria's doorbell camera in her apartment hallway usually caught nothing but deliveries. One night, a motion alert woke her at 3 a.m. The hallway was empty, but the audio told a different story. A faint, raspy whisper, right next to her door, lasted 15 seconds. No words she could understand, just the chilling certainty that someone was there, unseen. Maria didn't sleep that night, haunted by the voice that wanted to be heard, but not seen. In a building full of strangers, the unknown is just a wall away. Sometimes it whispers your name, and sometimes it never leaves. Frank's camera caught a delivery man walking up his porch, package in hand. The man looked at the camera, then, in a single frame, vanished. No walking away, no glitch, just gone. Frank checked every angle, every camera. The man existed only in those few seconds. No package was left behind. A visitor who never arrived, a delivery that never happened. Sometimes technology shows us things reality can't explain, and sometimes it leaves us with nothing but questions. Mark and Sarah's camera caught a child standing on their lawn late at night, wearing old-fashioned pajamas. The child stood perfectly still, staring at the door, expressionless, unblinking. Minutes passed, no movement, no sound. Then the child turned and walked away, vanishing into the darkness. No footprints, no explanation, no missing child reported. Some visitors leave no trace, except for the image burned into your memory. Innocence, when twisted, is the most unsettling thing of all. Imagine the scene, a quiet suburban street, the kind where nothing ever seems to happen. But beneath the surface of normalcy, something was brewing. A family endured a week of what seemed like harmless doorbell pranks from some local teenagers. Each night, the teens would ring the bell and then scatter, their laughter echoing in the darkness. It was annoying, sure, but ultimately just kids being kids, or so it seemed, until the 8th night arrived, bringing with it a chilling change in the game. This time something was different. The teens didn't run. The familiar sound of their hasty retreat was replaced by an unsettling silence. They stood on the lawn, silent, motionless, their eyes fixed on the house. They were watching, observing, their intentions unclear. The atmosphere shifted from playful to menacing in an instant. One of them, shrouded in the darkness, approached the camera. Their face was hidden by a hoodie, adding to the growing sense of unease. With a deliberate motion, they reached out and covered the lens, plunging the camera into darkness. The only witness was now blind, but the audio kept recording, capturing the sounds of what was to come. Muffled whispers filled the void, their words indistinguishable, yet undeniably sinister. What were they planning? What were they saying? Then, a chilling sound cut through the whispers, the metallic scrape of something being dragged across the door, a sound that would forever haunt the family's peace of mind. When the family finally dared to check the door the next morning, the full extent of the night's events became horrifyingly clear. A deep, jagged scratch was carved into the wood, a permanent scar etched into their home, a violation of their safety. The prank was definitively over. The laughter had faded, replaced by a chilling sense of dread. The threat was real, tangible, etched into the very fabric of their home. This was no longer a game. Sometimes a seemingly innocent joke can take a dark and unexpected turn, morphing into something sinister and deeply unsettling. And sometimes the real danger isn't the act itself, but the lingering feeling of vulnerability that remains long after the laughter stops. The knowledge that your sense of security has been irrevocably shattered. Would you answer the door again, knowing what might be waiting on the other side? Or would you simply hope, pray, that they never return, living in constant fear of the next knock? For this family, the line between a harmless prank and a menacing act of vandalism had been irrevocably crossed, leaving them with a deep sense of violation. And now, there was no going back to the carefree days before the scratching, before the silence, before the threat became real. The doorbell camera footage, a silent witness to the night's events, was all that remained, a chilling reminder of how quickly innocence can turn into something truly terrifying. George's cabin camera often caught wildlife, but one night a deer did something unnatural. It walked onto the porch, stood on its hind legs, and stared at the door. Then it knocked, 3 deliberate times. After a pause, it dropped to all fours and vanished into the woods. Was it a sick animal or something else? Something mimicking what it had seen? When nature acts human, the world feels less safe. Sometimes, the forest sends a messenger you're not meant to understand. And sometimes, it knocks. Every night at 11 p.m., a man in a hat knocked furiously on a family's door, then vanished. For a week, the ritual repeated, same time, same action, never a word. The family's anxiety grew with each night, the anticipation worse than the event. On the 7th night, the man paused, stared into the camera, then walked away for good. The knocking stopped, but the fear remained. Sometimes, repetition is its own kind of terror. And sometimes, the end is more unsettling than the beginning. What did he want? Why did he stop? The family never found out. But the memory of 11 p.m. still haunts them. Brenda's backyard camera caught 2 glowing eyes at the edge of the forest. Too high, too far apart for any animal. The eyes glowed with their own light, unblinking, fixed on her house. For minutes they watched, then glided away, never revealing the figure behind them. The footage showed no body, just that predatory gaze. Sometimes the darkness stares back, and sometimes it's not an animal at all. Brenda never felt safe near those woods again. Some things are meant to stay unseen. On a foggy night, a homeowner saw 5 people standing in a silent semicircle on his lawn. They didn't move, didn't speak, just stared at the house, faces obscured by fog. The silence was suffocating, the intent unknown. As sirens approached, the group turned in unison and walked away, vanishing into the mist. No footprints, no evidence, just the chilling footage. Sometimes a group is more terrifying than a single stranger. And sometimes the scariest thing is not knowing why they came. The homeowner never saw them again, but the memory of their silent vigil never left. Would you have watched or hidden? Jessica was home alone when a stranger appeared on her porch. He leaned into the camera and whispered her name. Jessica. She'd never seen him before. He smiled, eyes cold, and said, "I know you're in there. It's time to open the door." Jessica froze, terror flooding her as he waited, watching the camera. Only when sirens approached did he leave, promising with a look that he'd be back. The police never found him. Sometimes the scariest threat is the one that knows exactly who you are, and sometimes the camera is the only witness to your worst nightmare. Jessica never felt safe again. Some names are better left unspoken. Our journey into the darkness outside your door ends here. These stories remind us that security is fragile, and sometimes the camera reveals more than we want to see. If you have your own unsettling footage, share it below. You're not alone in peering into the unknown. For more real-life horror, subscribe and stay tuned. Lock your doors, check your cameras, and remember, the world is stranger than you think, and sometimes it's watching you back.